Hey, it's Reed Davis here, and we're going to go over the diet. So what is the perfect diet? Well, we already know that there isn't a perfect diet for any one person, and it depends on a lot of different things. I'm not going to explain it all. What I'm going to go into real quick, real short, real sweet, is how to find the perfect diet for you. Now, you need to know about 3 basic ingredients in a diet. You have protein, you have fats, and you have carbohydrates. Proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Generally, this is meat, and some vegetables have some protein in them. Along with meat comes fat. You know, there's some meat is fattier than others. There's also some vegetable oils and things like that that would constitute good quality fats. And carbohydrates are more your simple foods like vegetables and fruits and those kind of things. And some foods have just about all of this in them. Like some dairy foods, for instance, they have protein, they have fat, they have carbohydrates and such. But generally we're going to look at this as kind of your meat. We're meat eaters. And carbohydrates is your fruits and vegetables. That's just basic enough. These are called, by the way, the macronutrients. Macronutrients, protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Now, you need to get the right amount of protein, fat, and carbohydrates into every single meal that you eat. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner need to have a combination of these. The big question is how much or what proportions of each one. That, my friends, is the trick. At least the initial first trick is to find out what the right ratio is. Now I'm going to explain a little bit about why that's important. Every cell in your body has little parts in it. You have the nucleus, you have mitochondria, you have all this stuff in there. And in the cell, fuel is burned. Well, this is your fuel. And it gets burned up. It gets oxidized. Oxidation is the burning process, so oxidation. So oxidation, I hope you can see this. Oxidation of protein, fats, and carbs produces energy. Energy to do what? Well, to do whatever that cell's job is. That cell does not need to be taught what its job is. Our fundamental core belief and knowledge is that the cell is pre-programmed to burn, to oxidize fuel, to produce energy. And what is that energy used for? It's used by the cell so that it can do its job. Now, we all have jobs. We need energy to get that job done, and so do your cells. So the first rule is to get the fuel mixture right, and that's going to vary from person to person. So one of the things you could do is experiment with protein, fat, and carbs at every meal. Now, I've had people completely restore their health just by getting this right. They could have all kinds of problems, whether it be headaches and sinuses and allergies and moodiness and irritability, sleeplessness, energy problems. They have aches and pains. They have digestive issues. They have on and on and on, all these different things. And it's because they're eating wrong. And one of the things, simple things you can do is get the right amount of protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Now, I hope I've got room here to do this. So here's one thing you could do. It's just a simple trick, and that's going to be the end of it for today, is look at your plate of food. Pretend that's a plate of food. And divide it up. Let's just go with, if you went with 50% protein and fat, let's say meat or something like that. You know, just good solid protein and fat. And the other was your 50% carbs. Now, these should obviously be high quality vegetables and maybe a little bit of fruit, something like that. Now, again, everyone's going to be different. If you went 50-50 and did that for breakfast tomorrow morning, you should get some results. You will get some results. You'll get something happen. And all you got to do is start playing with that. Now, I'll tell you what to look for. If you do this tomorrow morning, I'm going to make a little bit more room here. If you do this tomorrow morning, 50-50, that means you're going to have to cook up some ham, maybe some eggs, do something to get a lot of protein and some fat, good quality fat in there. And then you're going to have some, maybe the night before salad, leftover salad, or you left over some asparagus or some broccoli or something like that you like. Eat that. And then about 2 hours later, see how you feel. Now you should see 3 things happening. Number 1, you should be satiated. Satiation. Satiation means you're not hungry and you're not craving anything. I'm satisfied. I'm satiated. That'd be a good thing. So that's 1. About 2 hours after eating breakfast tomorrow morning, if you eat this, you should feel satiated. 2, you should feel a good, solid energy, like solid energy. Now, I'm not talking about nervous energy. I'm not talking about coffee energy. I'm talking about, I feel like I can get some work done. You could move your body around. Also, you can think straight and get your work done at work, whatever it might be. You should feel a good, solid energy. And 3, you should feel like you're in a good mood. Mentally well and in a decent mood. In other words, you shouldn't feel irritable for no reason. You shouldn't feel depressed. You shouldn't feel any of those sorts of things. Negative mood or negative feelings of well-being, we'll put well-being. So feelings of well-being, you're in a decent mood, you have solid energy, and you feel satisfied. You're not craving anything. It doesn't feel like something was missing. Now, I'll just go on just a little bit because I can't help it. Let's just say you don't feel satiated. Something was missing. Energy just isn't quite where you need it to be. And or your sense of well-being isn't, at least decent. Then this probably wasn't the perfect meal. And what I would do is the next day I would change it. And I would probably do something like, 60 or even 75% and only 25% carbs. So whatever that would look like on a plate. Now you do not have to measure calories. Do not have to measure calories, or count grams, or any of this sort of silly stuff. Just look at your plate. It looks like half and half. It looks like more meat. You might have a steak, and just a little bit of asparagus, leftover vegetables from the night before. Remember, you're going to do this breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But, let's start with breakfast and let's see if it gets you through the morning. Now, if it gets you through the morning until lunchtime, and now you do feel satiated, not hungry, not craving, you do feel good, solid energy, like, man, I got all the way to lunch, without feeling like I needed coffee or a candy bar or, snacks and that sort of thing. And then mood, well-being, it's pretty solid. Now this of course is going to work very well for most people if they're otherwise healthy. So inasmuch as diet can help resolve your health issues, this is a really good way to go about at least the macronutrients, protein, fat, and carbs, and getting the percentages right. And I'd be very happy to do another little video on maybe what foods and things like that. But as far as oxidation of fuel, which produces energy so that that cell can do its job. And if that cell is an adrenal gland cell or a ovarian, if it's a muscle cell, if it's a brain cell, it's going to do its job better when you get the right fuel mixture. So let's start with that. Do this tomorrow morning and, see how it works out. You could do it again at lunch. You could do it again at dinner. You can keep records of what you ate and whether you were satiated, had decent energy and well-being. You start playing around with this for 3, 4, 5 days, and you'll start to get the hang of it. And we'll go into some more details about what we call the micronutrients. That's your vitamins and your phytonutrients and your minerals and all that sort of stuff. That's important too. But this is a really good start, and I hope it helps.